We're all on a journey through this life, and that journey can be quite difficult. It can be extremely hard when we have more questions than answers, especially when it comes to our faith in God. Even though we're on a journey of life, we don't have to do it alone. Join us for the podcast, The Journey, posted fresh on all popular podcast platforms every Sunday morning. Or you can go to the toughquestionsforgod.org website. There we go.
Okay.
Let's talk about shepherds and sheep.
I mean, you look at that whole idea of every now and then you hear somebody go, Jesus promised this. Jesus promised that we would never be alone,
Right.
as we were on our walk. And he shows us that time and time again, whether you're looking at the walk to Emmaus, or whether you're looking at the storm in the boat, or whether you're looking at all these different kind of things. Jesus promises us that he'll always be with us, which is just a huge comfort in and of itself. I think different times in my life where I've had, issues or troubles or those kinds of just dark kind of thoughts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing you're not alone, like the sheep and the shepherd, or knowing that as you're going through life, Jesus is there for you in what you're going through. It may not be fixed immediately. It may be a different path that you go on. It may have other trials and tribulations and all kinds of things that go along with it. But I think you can always take comfort in knowing that you are not going through it alone. Even if you feel that way, you're not. And it's that presence, that understanding that I think that gives us strength in those very dark times sometimes.
You know, I remember when I've been through some of those times myself, and I remember thinking, I'm not alone here. I'm not doing this alone. And then I started to think, well, okay, that means, Jesus is going to answer my prayer here. It's like rubbing the old lamp, okay, here's what I want. And only to realize later that, wait a minute, there's tremendous blessing in knowing that Jesus is walking with us through these storms, but really in a silent type of way, because it helps, I know it helps me to build on my level of faith, my level of trust. And also, I find it humbling too that, it must not be time for God to act, because I know he hasn't left me. But I still see the problems, but maybe he's telling me, there's another way around it. Or maybe he's just simply saying, I'm going to help you through this. I'm going to give you the strength and the courage or the wisdom, whatever it is that you need in order to endure this difficult time in your life. And, never alone.
Never alone.
Never alone.
It's a neat thing to continue to think about. I mean, and nowhere does it say Jesus promises to remove obstacles from your path. What he says is he'll be with you as you, as we say, are on the journey, and stepping over obstacles or wading through obstacles. It's just that no matter what you're doing, you're never alone in what you're doing it, and you're building the character as you go along, or you're growing in your faith. You're seeing how different things fit together. And that growth is that important piece about us as Christians today and moving forward.
And that's a great point. And even though I really feel many times like I've done my Christian walk incorrectly. I've stumbled so many times. I've misunderstood things many times. But there is a comfort there knowing that God's not going to forsake you. He's not going to leave you. He's going to be there with you. You keep trying, and He's going to be there. And okay, I might not get this right today, Lord, but I know that I'm not going to disappoint you so much that you're just going to wash your hands and say, Joe, you're a waste of time. It's encouraging, I find.
It is. Like I say, it's refreshing within, or refreshing to the soul. But it also gives you that, sometimes gives you that means to go on. I'm not alone in this. And it gives you that companion on your journey to help you to grow and to help you to build and to help you to do and to be better. Sometimes we use the words covenants and we do those kind of things. But it's just knowing that you are not alone. And I mentioned the shepherd and the sheep before, and how often we look at the 99 sheep in the pen and the one that gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus being that shepherd that even if we're lost in what we're doing, Jesus is still looking for us. Whether we're looking for him, as sheep, let's face it, they wander off, they get down into ravines, and they do those kind of things that they maybe shouldn't be doing. But the shepherd is faithful to the sheep to come after them, to look for them, to be with them, to help to guide them, to bring them back into the flock. So it's the shepherd that never gives up on the sheep, even when the sheep don't know they're in trouble, which describes us a lot of times.
Well, that's me. Well, sometimes you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
You think you have control of things or your life or certain situations or whatever, and then things don't unfold the way you thought they were going to, and you find that I do need guidance and I do need help, and really for me one of the most humbling things is to look back during those times and say, oh, now I see how Jesus was helping me through this. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't realize it at the time, even though I hadn't asked him to help, I see the shepherd is still there.
Yeah.
He's still got that, what do you call that big pole they use?
Yeah, the crook.
Beat me upside the head with it if that's what it takes. It's just a loving nurturing that is just unbelievable. It's just unfathomable to me, the love that God pours out on each one of us.
And it's not, and it's oftentimes not till we stop and look back. Yeah. That we realize you weren't alone. Jesus was with you and helping to guide you even when you were tired or when you did wrong or when you did so many different things, that we see Jesus's arm on our shoulder, or maybe that shepherd's crook dragging us out of a situation. But it's not until you look back on it that sometimes we do that. And that's when we can grow in our faith. That's when we know and realize and recognize our faith and Jesus' role in that.
Beautiful picture.
Mm-hmm.
So what's one thing you would tell the person that's struggling with, is Jesus really intimately involved in my life, or intimately wants to help, me live a good life or come to know him or whatever? What's one thing you would recommend to that individual to do? And some of our listeners might be in that situation. Who knows?
One thing would be that as you realize this, Jesus has been looking for you throughout your life. It's you who needs to take the next step and look for him. Oftentimes there's an old saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Yeah.
Jesus isn't going anywhere.
I've heard that.
But you don't realize something sometimes unless you look for it. And to know what Jesus can do in your life, you have to turn to him and ask yourself what can I do as a follower of Jesus? I mean, it's still that never being alone,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the idea that Jesus is and has been there, whether we're talking about prevenient grace or sanctifying grace or justifying grace or all the different kinds of things. Jesus is there for us. But sometimes we don't stop to listen. We don't stop to see. We don't stop to pay attention to the messages. There's a lot of times that we're just,
Smell the roses.
that's it. We're just not there. And we need to be, because that's how we grow in our relationship with Jesus.
Absolutely.
What would you tell somebody then?
I would tell them that, if you want to enhance your relationship with God, with Christ, then, it's no different than a marriage relationship or a dating relationship or, a good friend relationship or whatever. If you want the relationship to grow, you have to invest in it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to spend time. You got to spend time with the individual or the people, or, you got to read his word. You got to spend time praying and meditation and whatever ways you can experience that relationship. And there are many. I think that's what I would tell them, is invest. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed with the results.
Wonderful advice.
That's what I
Good
would
deal.
say. Good. Hey, I want to thank you guys for joining us again today. And this, again, will be posted on Sunday mornings for you to peruse during the week. And like I said, if you have questions or topics or things that you want to bring to our attention, or you want to see us talk about, or whatever, just leave us a comment, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe and all those wonderful things.
Enjoy the journey.
There you go. Enjoy the journey. And remember, you're never alone. Thanks, and God bless.